On Wednesday, House members voted unanimously, almost unanimously, across party lines on a resolution to urge ceasefire and declare Ukraine's sovereignty. Congressman Donald Norcross, a Democrat from New Jersey, is joining me now to discuss this. He serves as the chair of the Tactical Air and Land Forces Subcommittee of the House Armed Services Committee. Representative Norcross, good morning.
Good morning. Good to be back.
Thank you. Thank you for being here once again. This resolution your chamber passed, what was its purpose?
To unify the voice of Congress to the world, quite frankly, to send that message to Russia that this is not a partisan issue, or it shouldn't be, that we are together as one nation.
While you mentioned Russia right there, I think this is important to note. Obviously, we're seeing the value of the ruble tank. I think it was worth less than a penny at last check. Obviously, the Russian economy is taking a hit, but this would appear to be punishing the Russian people more than Putin himself. Isn't that two different things?
Well, it certainly is. And the idea that the ruble is somehow connected from the Russian economy is simply not the case. Obviously, the idea is not to go after the Russian people, but to go after the hierarchy led by Putin himself. It is a remarkably heartbreaking to see the reports we just saw, children down in the subways hiding. It's the equivalent of us attacking Canada. And there's one person to blame, and that's the person on your screen, Putin. But it is remarkably disappointing.
But when it comes to the sanctions, these financial sanctions, which are, as you mentioned, targeted at not just the populace of Russia, but squarely on Putin and the financiers, the oligarchs, the wealthy elite that are really supporting Putin. Is this the way to prevent further military action?
Well, we're going after his fuel for his war machine. That's exactly. These are the heaviest sanctions in the history of our country outside of North Korea and Iran. But in terms of total focus, that's what we're trying to do, is shut him down, make him pay the cost. We're not going to put American soldiers into Ukraine, but it is remarkable how Europe has come together in a remarkable way. You saw the General Assembly vote. But remember, Putin was the one who decided this, and no one else. I met with the ambassador of Norcross just last week, and I just wanted to give her a hug because we know what she's going through. Mm-hmm. She said to me, we've been fighting the Russians for 400 years. If they think we're going away, they're sadly mistaken. And that just speaks volumes.
Considering Putin's temperament and his own legacy of power and how he sees power, this could be a very long battle. In light of the fact that U.S. forces will not involve themselves in conflict, in on-the-ground combat, but these sanctions are the way that so far the government has been going, how much more money can we throw at this situation? I don't mean to be, to lack tact here.
No, I hear you loud and clear. We're going to do what it takes to help the Ukrainian people because it's our value, who we are as a country. We value democracy and the rule of law, and this is going directly at it. But remember, this didn't start overnight. This started during the last administration, who froze military assistance, who wouldn't meet with Zelensky, and literally turned over his policy to Giuliani. Let's be clear where this started. The foundation of this attack started during the last administration and what Trump did, who unprecedentedly met one-on-one with Putin. That's what we have to be concerned at.
What do you think that those one-on-one meetings did in order to spark the conflict that we're seeing right now?
What you're seeing is no president ever meets one-on-one with nobody else in the room. Never has happened with Putin. And yet, Donald Trump continues to talk about how great Putin is. That should be scary to every American. He set the stage. We, the Biden administration, the American people are going to have to fix this because the only way that we're going to do this is with a united country, a united Europe together and hold him accountable.
I hear your passion for the previous administration. There are some who agree with you. There are others who would disagree and think that the previous administration was the only one that actually got Putin to maybe calm down a bit. But again, that's for a whole nother conversation. What is your word to the current administration and President Biden about what is going on right now and what we need to do next? With your experience, what would your word be to President Biden?
To allies and partners. Nobody does this alone. And that has been the remarkable change over the last year, is working together. NATO has never been stronger. The European Union has never been stronger. We need to do it with the rule of law with nations around the world.
Congressman Norcross, thank you so much for your time and your passion, and we appreciate you coming back on the show again. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.